Well, we're approaching access Oldham, and I won't be coming out here until somebody from the legal department tells me what the hell's going on. Are they open or are they shut? Ron,
He will be back in about 5 minutes. Yeah, just have a seat there. Yeah. Move it on.
the security have been very good in here. They just pay to do a job. It's the officers that we need to. But I'm here because the gentleman who I'm waiting for, handed in a letter to Paul Entries over the solicitor, began with a standards complaint against Maggie Hurley, newly elected Royal Council, Royal South. The 9 days over, I haven't had a reply. And I tried yesterday, phoned them up, the legal department didn't know what to do. So this is the council's legal department who didn't know what to do. And they'd phone back, well, it's not good enough. I'm not waiting any longer. And when I made an appeal against the gagging of holding this council to account, you were with us, John.
Yeah,
You
well,
delayed again.
can I just say about holding the council to account? So, with all the failures we've had in the council, child sex exploitation, badly run council, dipped into 39 million of reserve funds last year, going bankrupt like other councils. I wonder why then they've got about a dozen members of the council on over £100,000 a year. £100,000. People can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around a dozen members of the executive council and the chief executive, 100 grand a year.
The young lady, obviously, 770, 3,000. Absolutely. That's what I love with it. And it's a clean book. So she tried to put 20,000 instead of under book. And then put it to cut off. So there must be work. And when I tried last night, the same. So these parasites who are in this council build up, probably working for the county. Yeah.
We're just filming that corner, so the lady, she don't want to be on the camera. She's just going to be. No, she's going to be. She's right behind you.
Oh, right.
She needs to.
Yeah, you raise it, John. You think it's on there.
No, it's all right. Go and
Sorry,
sit there if you want. Nicer spot though.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you. We have to respect the people in the building.
Well,
Well, we have to,
to a final, to a fine.
you know, people have to be respected. But when we're all together, things will change.
So a few facts. I mean, Oldham's a big social care place, so we have a high social care bill. So that's looking after old people, people with disabilities. We do, but it's one of our council taxes, one of the highest, like banded for in the country as well. So what we're going to say, so they have a high social care bill, looking after disabled people and elderly, and it's not all elderly. Don't listen to there's too many old people. It's not that in Oldham, and obviously poverty is big in Oldham. So we have 3 areas in Oldham that are the highest in the country for like poverty. Yeah, and around the town centre areas. So, Oldham's stricken with poverty. But again, they can pay £100,000 a year to an exec.
those that are maybe physically some form of
Disabilities.
but it knows intention to marry. So for everyone who's doing this, there is I'd like to know the parliamentary council.
It's big in Oldham. It's just one of the worst places in the UK. We can't. But councils across the country are struggling now. Birmingham's.
John, going back and Isaac back the blade, the monk, and said that each one of the nonsense and the ping pong game, which will be coming up in so with the labour, the conservative,
Oh,
the conservative, maybe
Right, come on. We've seen you, ma'am. We've seen your mum.
Thank you. All it is, I phoned the legal officer.
Sorry if you can't hear him. Sorry.
I will not be coming into this until I get this stuff. So that only comes when I should have had within 20 days a response. Yeah, no, yeah. Now, I tried to phone the legal department, but and they mustn't return it in. So every worker in who turns in on time, and does their job. You see, we've got officers who can abuse it. With them all takes the time, this and that, but just trying to find
So what you handing in here now?
It was a standard complaint, John, against Councillor Maggie Hurley, the newly elected
Independent.
who, in my opinion, abused the position, codes of conduct, and our councillor should act by reciting to me something that's took a really dim view from a friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it said the decision will normally be taken within 20 working days with Sue and the monitor officer. The further question of how to proceed. Well, I need to know.
can I borrow that just for a couple of minutes? See what I can. All right. Can you just take a seat?
Thank you.
Oh, Ron's been here every time you've come in, innit?
Yeah.
It's
And another one, John, if you can film that. Is that acceptable for a signature? Community Safety Services. What does that read to you?
nothing, because there's not even a
No,
name
because they
there.
haven't got the guts.
If they had to put the name there,
Yeah.
then I'd accept
Yeah,
that.
they haven't got the guts to put the name. And in a letter to my appeal, I asked for a signature so I could read it, and they did the same signature.
Right.
Who on earth do these people think they are?
No, you're right. You're
It's
right.
not acceptable.
No, you're right. You're right. Should have a name on there.
It should have a name.
But this is it on accountability in all the councils. This is why we're in so much trouble, isn't it?
Yeah.
No one's going to accept
Oh, hang on.
responsibility.
Oh, John, I might have misunderstood it. It's not Mr. or Mrs. Tosspot, is it? Is that what it is? Is that what it is, John?
It might be. But what else I was going to say now? So
We're just waiting for Ron to come back and find out.
right.
And it's a shame that the gentlemen on the desk have to carry the blunt from highly paid council officers regarding the legal team who can't do what they're supposed to do. And that Paul Entwistle, I believe, could be retiring at the end of the year. He should have had boot up his backside years ago. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so if Warren Bates is watching this, we're in the council. Warren, obviously yesterday we're taking my mum to doctors, which was quite important, but you had to bring up political stuff, just thought I'd mention that. So Oldham Council's getting highly paid executives and people within the council, all adding to failures and unaccountability in running the council, really. There was a newspaper article out last year that stated that people wouldn't recommend other people work at Oldham Council. It was in the Oldham Times.
No, there's good staff in this council. There's good staff. The fault lies with the executive director, the chief exec, the council leader, and all those council officers over £100,000 a year. And in my opinion, the Localism Act brought in by a Tory government 2011 was to be put in good place. It was to be treated as a respect. And this Labour-run council has abused it, where until an Act of Parliament withdraws that Localism Act, every single council up and down the country are totally out of control from central government. Well, you've just given the keys to all the bank safes to the bank robbers, and one of them is here.
But they're always blaming central government for all the wars, but it's not them, is it?
This is politics, John. This is politics, isn't it? It's time that all local government were brought back into central government, because if all these councils are going bank, then the government have failed in looking after our expenses, the taxpayers' money, and they've failed. Regarding what you said before we had to turn the camera off, before Ron came, if governments had done their job and run it as a business, we would not have a retirement age of 66, 67 going up. We would have had enough money for people to have enjoyed a better quality of life, but they've wasted it. And the only reason why they get away is the vast majority can't be bothered, and a small minority have to crusade to hold these people to account.
So you said then, I mean, with the way I look at it, right, we can blame central government, but individually, all these councils are run by particular groups, aren't they? Birmingham, a Labour-dominated council. Oldham, Rochdale, Labour-dominated. They put the policies. The central government only give them money. They put the policy. They have to sort the money out and then divide it between. And we've not. Like you said, we don't run it like a business.
We don't run it like a business. We don't run it like a business because the council chambers holding this council to account in the public gallery, then it's never full. People aren't mithered, but there's only a certain amount, a few crusaders for the benefit of everyone in Oldham, no matter what race, creed, religion they are, for better for everyone. They don't turn up, they don't speak out. And this is where we fail.
Well,
it's like that newly elected Maggie Hurley. I spent 3 days, John. I spent 3 days putting leaflets through promoting her. And what has she done? Bugger all. She's done absolutely nothing and take the money. We wanted them to speak up. No wonder people can't be bothered to vote. Talk about turn your back on folk. And that's what this is. It's a standards complaint against Maggie Hurley that is 9 days overdue. She remarked to me from a friend. She gave a discriminative acknowledgement from a friend directed to me. That is wrong. That's wrong.
So have you got any message to like the councillors and people who want to be in the council? Like me, people who want to be in the council like me. Have you got any messages for us?
I hope, John, that if you get elected, that that you do stand up, and it wants councillors to have a backbone. And when the mayor, who threw an elderly Asian man out when he wanted to stop all the killing in Gaza, and they threw him out. It's incredible.
Capricorn security guys, tomorrow's an Oldham Council meeting. There's going to be a high public presence.
I hope there is, Joe.
An old geezer was forcibly ejected from the council the other month on the last meeting. He was only on his own. He weren't in any group or anything. He wasn't being violent. He asked them not to touch him, but Capricorn security Capricorn security have assaulted little Julie Airwood as well. We've been to a council meeting with Executive Emma Barnes about that, didn't we? Barton. Went to a couple of meetings with Emma, but she was assaulted by these staff, and Julie's only a little woman, and it's wrong. Shouldn't be treated like that. And a lot of people have got issues with the security team here, not showing the badges when they should do, and stuff like that. And saying that they're not going to keep any data that they collect off people coming into the public, coming into the meeting. So, but I mean, there's a few heads around Oldham who are looking into them anyway.
Does the people listening to this broadcast, do they want to pay a 2-day-a-week chief executive, Harry Cathro, for £120,000 a year for 2 days?
Does he get? Are you sure?
Now that is what.
Are you sure he gets 120 grand?
That's what I've heard.
Right,
Don't quote me. That's what I've heard.
Right.
And for Emma Barton to be trained to take over the next 3 days, 140,000. So it's split. The job role's split. Is that what we want? Is that what we're paying for?
I don't think personally that they're both on top money if they're doing 2 days a week.
There was a gentleman who you know of, John, who gave that information out.
On his broadcast.
Yeah. That's what they thought.
Oh.
So,
where's all our money going, guys? Where's all our money going?
Going to swanning off, nice holidays, nice homes, nice pension on the backs of us.
I'll look into that, guys. I'll find Raj's broadcast and I'll look for them quotes on that money. And even though he's not my favourite person, everything he says is 100% correct. So I'll research that and I'll look it up.
Yeah, I can remember I did 6 years subcontracting, maybe 15 years ago, for Rochdale Environmental Health on a self-employed contractor's basis. And he said, "Have you got your insurance certificate?" That was the manager at Rochdale. I said, "Oh, I've left it in my van. I'll go for it." He said, "Well, I'll walk up with you." And I said, "Well, no," I said, "I've got jobs to do here. I'll run up." And he called me back and he said, "Whoa, don't you run. You're subbing for the council now. That's what this is. Subbing for the council. Everything on goes slow. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke." And then I got threatened by 2 of the main staff. "How many jobs are you doing in a day?" And I told them. And he said, "Well, don't do. Because when you go, they want us to do it." Oh, come off it. No wonder our bloody council tax. There are good people. They work their socks off. I know people. They work damn hard for this council. Damn hard. But it's unfortunate that it's not patrolled and monitored. Told you. Tried to phone up legal services. Where were they? Were they sat on the settees at home filling their fat faces full of chocolates?
Well, anyway, let me just give a bit of a brief. We were out Sunday. Peter's been to several meetings with the clergy and council people to do with his issues. We've got a paper trail. He's got all letters and that he's sent to the council, so no one can say that he hasn't done anything. And he's doing it by the right way we do it. And we have had, I have to say, people, even though it looks like we don't do nothing, we have had several meetings with the chief executives, haven't we, over issues to do with you,
Well, we've had it
Julie,
with,
Dolly. We've tried.
I've had Harry Catherall at my home that went through the paperwork, and it's been covered up and brushed aside. We've had 3 or 4 meetings with Emma Barton, who's going to be trained up as a 3-day-a-week chief exec, who did nothing. I'm sick of being stabbed in the back. Stabbed in the back, John.
Well, the thing is, we do the correct things and the correct procedures. If I'm in the council, guys, I have to do these kind of procedures to talk to people and stuff, and we're doing all that. That's the whole point of this, to show you that we do engaged. We will come to the council, even though it might seem that it's not doing nothing. We're following procedure. No one can ever say that we just come in and bully people, because we don't. No one can ever say we come in throwing our underpants off or anything like that. What people can say is that John and Pete are calm and collected. To come up to do things the right way. They're not aggressive. We're not chanting with banners outside. We're doing things the correct way, and this is what I want people to see.
Frustration. I mean, the tone of my voice were raised. It's made me ill and frustrated that it's trying to penetrate a 3.5 foot concrete wall because of that localism act that
Gives the councils
gives
all
the
the
council
control.
total without any central government
And
intervening.
it's one of the biggest things you've been going on about, this localism act, since you started being active, haven't you?
Because they covered up the CSC when they used the localism act to cover up the CSC 2011.
Yeah.
When did the CSC come in?
Same in Rochdale, the 3 girls scandal, the localism act. The council had control of everything, so nobody was held accountable. We know that Richard Farnell lied to an inquiry. These are the kind of things that the localism act causes. And Peter's been a big advocate for it from the beginning, hasn't you? Since I met you, you was going on. I've got the sheets at home.
It was unknown to me, John. What will it be? 6 years ago, when I asked for help from my short Lib Dem councillor Rob Blythe, who refused and lied and didn't do his job, and then I made a standards complaint against them, like I've done with Maggie Hurley, and they allowed a school governor, chair of the school governors, Crompton House School, and it was Christopher Gloucester, and he was Rob Blythe's mate, colleague of the same party. Harry Catherall was shown the video.
1 minute, Rob Blythe, Lib Dem, councillor, caught with category A images.
He's on the child sex offender register.
He is now.
Yeah, he is now. I didn't know then.
But they allowed him in onto the what? They allowed him.
Well, he was a school governor.
He was a school governor, and was this at the time when he had his convictions?
Well, he had to finish. They finished him in the end, but how long did they know? They didn't say how long they knew. It was only when he went to court. But I think Raj Amir asked what schools he was a school governor, and they refused to say. But his mate is still chair at school governors at Crompton House, and he sat on a panel that got him off.
So Rob Blythe, Lib Dem, school governor, and he was a school governor at the time of his conviction. How long did the council know? Did other people know of in the council? And when we come down to it, they normally know these things. This is what happened in Rochdale. They knew these people had done stuff. So this is a Lib Dem councillor in Oldham that Peter is talking about, called Rob Blythe. You can Google him up. Category A, child pornography images. He's on the sex offenders register now.
I'll just ask Ron a question. Ron,
No, you call Peter.
that's all right.
11.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks again.
Oh, well.
Thank you.
Sorry
for that. It's like I've stated on the broadcast. You do your jobs and they don't do theirs. You know, then they pay the damn side more than you, but the staff have been absolute, always. Access Oldham, the security yourself, first class. And it's these here. Thanks, John. Thank you.
Nick, you want to get in contact with me? Give me a ring. Is my number up? Yeah, my number's up. Give us a ring, Nick. Come on, give us a ring. I know you've emailed me, but give us a text and give us a ring. We'll have a talk. Say about an hour or something. Give us a text and we'll have a chat because we're going Weatherspoons after this. Probably to catch a breath. Well, it's 11:20. We've got to be there before 12 for a
Got
break.
police station to go to after.
Right, right.
Unless you want a break and then go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Back to the report.
So we're in Oldham Council, guys. The legendary Peter Brown, who stood up in the European
know.
Parliament and told them all.
Legendary. I feel as though I'm a martyr for a cause. I feel I'm a fool.
I've got a video, and he's there in the European Parliament telling them off because they got boob jobs with it and cosmetic.
Yeah, they got it on the perks.
Yeah, the perks.
Have, cosmetic surgery out of everybody else.
So you were there for strychnine, weren't
I
you?
were there for a biocides, John. It were a biocides directive that what we used in agriculture, very deadly poison. It was strychnine. That the EU put the ownership on the pharmaceutical merchants to say how safe it was. How can you say strychnine was safe? It was the most deadliest poisons known to man with no antidote.
Is this what you work with?
Yeah. So they didn't give a monkey. So all your nurses, all your police who were frightened, oh, we want this, they allowed us in agriculture for the safeguarding of food, a zoonotic disease from animals to humans through bad soil contamination to control the pest. Now, we used it under 3 acts of parliament for over 70 years. And then the EU wanted money to say how safe it was. And when I flew over, I said, hang on, we've been under you for 40 years. It's took you lot 40 years of putting people at risk of a deadly poison. And all you wanted was €1,000,000 per active substance and a dossier to say how safe it was. How could a chemical manufacturer say strychnine was safe? How could you do it? You couldn't. So you wanted €1,000,000 per active ingredient and it was non-returnable. So you could send all this money, all this dossier, and the EU could say unsafe and not return the €1,000,000. Everyone who goes to garden centres, everyone who used domestic, home products, all came under and still comes under the biocides. Still comes under it. And what's the pollution out there? There were a German chemical company who wanted strychnine out to push its own product. And it was aluminium phosphide. It was phosgene gas used in the First World War. No antidote. It's been handed out, or it was handed out willy-nilly, and it wasn't governed properly by our health and safety executive. 2 young people died. They committed suicide. They put it in the mouth. There's no antidote. But the German chemical company who manufactured this wanted strychnine out to push its own filth.
Right.
It's a joke.
Right.
But they shut it down. Yeah, because.
And so what did you say to him in Parliament? You said, what did you say about the cosmetic surgery?
I said, when I go home and I read in the press, and it were in our national press, a perks born to European MEPs for breast improvements and Viagra tablets.
Pete said this in the European Parliament.
I was represented by Paul Nuttall, UK, who flew over.
You may see it.
Yeah. It stated that I will be called within 12 hours and sign it, Ron. Before you go, Ron, just ask that is not acceptable. That so-called signature is not acceptable. So sign it with a proper name, please. Thanks, Ron.
So you said that, didn't you? You've been part. You do this, and but you have breast implants and Viagra paid for
It's
by
not.
European money.
Listen, it took them 40 years to keep coming up with these directives, and for that 40 years, they carried on putting people, farmers, contractors like me, owners, put at risk, control this pest. That if the soil contamination got in the animal feed, it's a zoonotic disease. We've just come through a zoonotic disease called COVID. They said it were from bats, and we can get it through infected milk and meat. When I said to the EU, you said there was no risk. I have 3 state university documentations, listeriosis, one tough bug, and has been implicated as a potential human health risk. And they was brushed it. No, it's a joke. Absolute
Well,
joke.
I'm not an expert, but there's a lot of EU directives and health and safety on stuff that we have coming in and out of the EU. That they're not happy with, like the American chicken and chlorine and stuff like that. They're not happy with
No,
genetically modified meat, like hormones into meat that we have in Australia and New Zealand.
were
They're not happy with them.
there were a farm where I used to go regular once a month when I used to trim cattle's feet in Preston, and she took back a bag to the supermarkets of washed salad because it stunk and tasted of chloris. So it was dipped in chlorine to preserve it. And when you Google the dirty dozen foods of all the pesticide residuals still in it, most of these foods is you're 7 a day or you're 5 a day.
Mm,
It's a joke. It's an absolute con. So they sprayed with pesticides, but we're digressing. All I can say is just people Google the dirty dozen pesticides residual in foods and make your own decision. Just make your own decision. But for 40 years, when we put ourselves at risk, and you've got your firemen, your police, you've got your nursing, you've got your hospital, everyone's belly aching and whinging, and we put ourselves at risk of the most horrendous way to die with no antidote. They couldn't save you, and less than the red head of a match would kill you in the most horrific manner, deadly strychnine. And they couldn't give a monkeys. Let them use it. Let them use it. As long as we don't, let them use it to control these pests. It was within the law. It was under 3 acts of parliament. So that's what set me off on the trail that politics is a filthy, dirty game.
Okay, I have to agree with you there, Peter. I have to agree. You've got to have a thick skin for council politics. But yeah, guys, we're in Oldham Council. Some grievances Peter's got against the council, so we're following the paper trail, handing everything in. We don't threaten people or anything like that. We do things the right way here, and we've had. I just want to try and explain to people. So I wanted to become a counsellor. So what does that mean? It means talking to other people and sitting in meetings and stuff like that. I've hammered the meetings in past 2 years here at Oldham with chief executives. I've helped people on Holland Wood who've had issues with the council. One was over a social care bill. So I helped her with my email. She don't do emails or anything. So I helped her out, which got absolved, sorted out. And obviously supporting people to get homes. And I did do last year by coming in the council on the day with someone from Hollingwood and waiting till we see the manager and talk to the manager and then progress from there for getting this person a house. Obviously, I'm not spending all my time down there. Like I said, I came up to Oldham Council with somebody from Hollingwood. They came up on the bus when I said, we'll go to the council. They came up, we ended up seeing the manager. Things were a bit better and then progressed from there. Within a couple of weeks, that person had a place to live. So, I'm not down Hollingwood picking up the rubbish off the floor, not all the time, but I am getting around the council. Lots of people in the council know me now. And those who know me haven't had any bad experiences with me. They've been pretty good. They've been pretty good.
The 20 working days, which I should have receipt of my complaints against the councillor. 20 working days. We're 29 days. And once again, I've had to come up here and follow up why they haven't followed their own due process.
And so, can you tell me a little bit about Maggie Early? Didn't you say you were helping her deliver leaflets?
Yeah, I helped to do 3 days with other people to promote her, thinking that she was going to be a councillor if she got elected to stand up for the people of Royton. In the end, she stabbed us in the back. But she's commented via a text, which I've still got on the phone, where a friend of hers said, "You will never get nowhere with Peter. He's always claiming the victim." And I says, via voice message, "Tell your friend to give their name and address where I can give it to my cousin and his sons and their wives and their grandchildren, where he had to have his wife exhumed from the despicable failure to drain Crompton Cemetery. Is he playing the victim? How dare her? She should never have confirmed a statement via a friend of hers to me as her role as a councillor."
Yeah, we did some videos, didn't we, at the cemetery? Didn't we? Where the water was flooding. We did some videos.
Yeah.
It was serious flooding, guys.
It's here. The breaches of codes of conduct towards myself. That was one in them.
They certainly are bullies, mate. They certainly are.
I'd like the name of that person, Ron, if they will. It is on it's on another A4 sheet, and it was the breaches of codes of conduct which I named. I think there were about 8 of them, and then allowing a non-elected friend try to take over a meeting that I had arranged with Syed Osman, Deputy Chief Exec, and Syed Osman had to tell him to shut up. So Maggie Early, the elected councillor, didn't have the meeting. She invited a friend to take over, and then they stabbed me in the back.
Was that the meeting where I were on?
Yeah,
on,
and
on
it's like I said, I told Councillor Maggie about making the complaint against her Friday, the 26th of 1st, 2024, via text message. I've got all the messages. And I've asked the monitoring officer, the solicitor, to ask Councillor Maggie Early to read and to listen to these voicemails.
So let's listen to this, guys. So besides protesting, Pete gets banners out and all that. He does the right thing by going through the rules and the democratic rules and all that of the council and calls them out on what sort. So he's not just doing from one side. If we had people to support more of this kind of paperwork, then we'd be able to hold them to account. And obviously, he went on about the Localism Act, which gives councils pure power. And I've known a few people who've been elected and they've been chucked out of the council because they've disagreed with something or they've said something, they give an opinion on stuff like that, because they have the council is their own judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
They are their own judge, jury, and executioner, aren't
But
they?
you can see I stated to Councillor Maggie Early, And if you read confidentiality, only if you want your identity to be kept confidential, in the interests of fairness and natural justice, Warren, sure. We believe members who are complained about have the right to know who's made the complaint. But if you have to submit that it would have a serious health condition and that any medical risks associated with your identity being disclosed. So you have to submit that it would give you the most utmost distress mentally would they withheld you. But they allow personal friends to sit on standards complaint against the pals. Oh,
I just want people to know that I don't hide my address, my name, or anything. I'm a real person. I've got real pictures. I have a real family. I don't make anything up. My name isn't a meme of Sadiq Khan, get out Sadiq Khan, or anything. My profile isn't a meme of we hate the Labour Party. I'm just a real person. I just thought I'd get that to everyone. Anyone doubts it, they can come to Oldham sometime and meet me personally to show you that I'm real. I'm not made up.
the
And
thing is, I'm 70-year-old, you know that, John. And in my life, I'm afraid politics has lost what it's supposed to be.
I agree.
If people went into the council chamber, they would see all paintings of older men, of people who helped the borough to progress. They probably were well respected. Unfortunately, they're not. It's what I can get for doing nothing as a councillor these days. But when you do not represent the people who have walked the streets trying to get you into a position where you're their voice and you stab us in the back, shame on you. Shame on you.
I've also written to housing associations about antisocial behaviour, two particular areas in Hollingwood. One was loud music, banging on windows and doors, and the other one was a knife attack. And then a couple of weeks later, someone beat on the head with a blunt instrument. And I even went to a local meeting with the police and brought this up with the police. And that's what I said to them. I'm sorry I've had to be so blunt. This is over a period of 3-4 months. I've done videos mentioning this, written to the housing associations, and they did nothing. And I said to the police in the meeting at the St Chad's Centre, I said, well, if you don't do something, me and some of the lads off the estate are going to get a white van and people will be moved. Well, you can't do that. Well, you need to do something. I've emailed great places. Now, I emailed them, they ignored me. The day after that meeting, they sent me an email. The day after the meeting. So they ignored me at first when I sent an email. The day after they sent the email. This is, I'm only calling out for enough things. I'm not being horrible with anyone or anything like that. The area where the trouble was an area with vulnerable people, and there was two 90-odd-year-old sisters in a flat next door. There was a 70-odd-year-old woman on one of the ground floor flats, and they were all scared, and I wanted to do something, so I did that in Hollingwood. And them people are not there now. In both cases, there was 2 incidents, and the people have been moved on from them. They don't have them flats that they've been moved on. So it's progress. So that's what I've done over the past couple of years. It's been a one-time thing. So they ignored me email at first, great places. The day after that meeting, they emailed me. So that obviously they didn't attend the meeting. Some of the other housing associations were there, but great places didn't attend. So they were obviously informed, and straight away there was an email to me. I emailed Failsworth School when there were kids bullying outside there, and I also went down when a 14-year-old called Eric took his own life, did a video, and Failsworth School, some of the kids who live in Hollingwood, whose parents vote for me, go to that school. So I thought I'd get down. I sent them an email. They ignored me email at school, but the school actually Failsworth School. What councillors on the board there? Has it all been? Is all been on the board?
Might be his fails, isn't it? I don't know to be truthful, John.
But the school ignored me, so I went down and did the video on her, Rick. And I'm due to go to that school again, and that caused a bit of controversy. I thought the school was closed, but it were open, so they had to put the kids out the side entrance because I was doing videos out the front. And then the following week, they took all the banners down for justice for Eric Coo, 14-year-old who'd been bullying, troubles at home, took his own life.
The reason why we're waiting, John, is, I will not remove. I want a written statement that this standards complaint that's gone 9 days overdue, and I've had to come up here to give them a kick up the backside to urge it on, is 9 days overdue. And we're waiting because I'm not going to leave until I get something in writing stating that I'm going to hear from this standards review. And also that squiggly line where they put it down on the gagging order and then they sent the reply to my appeal regarding the gagging order is not acceptable at all. I want a signature. I want to recognise a person who signed that letter. A squiggly line isn't going to work anymore. So that's what we're waiting for, John. Don't use all your phone because we're police station to go to after.
I know,
John.
yeah. Well, I'll have to cut the broadcast off then in a minute.
Put it back on when they bring, and we can show the literature that we've got.
Right, guys, we'll see you in a bit.